Hello everyone, welcome to the Masterclass on It book with Guptaji. The 48 Laws of Power, Complete Guide. Foundation of Power, Laws 1 to 10. The world is not governed by the laws written in books. It is governed by the laws of human nature. Most people spend their lives reacting to the moves of others, never realizing they are on a board. These aren't just rules, they are your armor. Law 1, never outshine the master. Always make those above you feel comfortably superior. Nicolas Fouquet, finance minister to King Louis XIV. He threw the most lavish party in history to show his loyalty. Instead of feeling loved, the king felt insecure and had Fouquet imprisoned for life. When you display too much talent, you don't inspire admiration, you inspire fear. Let your boss be the sun, you be the star that reflects their light. Law 2, never put too much trust in friends. Friends are prone to envy. Use former enemies instead. The Emperor Michael III of Byzantium. He promoted his best friend, Basilius, to high office. Basilius, feeling he no longer owed Michael anything, eventually murdered him to take the throne. Friendship is based on emotion, power is based on utility. A friend thinks they are your equal and will eventually resent your success. An enemy you convert has everything to prove and will be more loyal. Law 3, conceal your intentions. Keep people off balance. If they don't know what you are doing, they cannot defend. The Marquis de Savagne. He followed the advice of a friend, who was actually a rival, on how to woo a countess. Because he was too transparent, he lost her interest instantly. Use a smoke screen. Talk about goals that don't matter with total passion. While your rivals are busy sabotaging a fake target, you are quietly finishing your real mission. Law 4, always say less than necessary. The more you talk, the more common you appear. Coriolanus, the Roman hero. He was a great soldier but a terrible politician. Every time he spoke to the people, his arrogance leaked out, eventually leading to his exile. Powerful people intimidate by being silent. Silence makes people uncomfortable, and uncomfortable people reveal their weaknesses. Law 5, so much depends on reputation. Reputation is the cornerstone of power. Chanakya, the ancient Indian strategist. He knew that a king's reputation for ruthlessness was so powerful that it could stop an invasion before a single soldier moved. Reputation does the work for you before you ever enter the room. Find one quality to be known for, reliability, ruthlessness, or genius, and guard it with your life. Law 6, court attention at all costs. Everything is judged by appearance. P.T. Barnum. He didn't care if news about his circus was good or bad, as long as it was on the front page. He knew that attention is the currency of power. In a world of billions, the only sin is being invisible. It is better to be slandered than to be ignored. Be the center of the storm. Law 7, get others to do the work, take the credit. Use the skills of others to save your own time. Thomas Edison. He is remembered for the light bulb, but a team of geniuses in his lab did the heavy lifting. He was the architect, they were the laborers. Be the designer, not the builder. Your name goes on the monument, there stays in the records. Efficiency is the key to longevity. Law 8, make other people come to you. When you force others to act, you are in control. Otto von Bismarck. He would subtly manipulate other countries into attacking him first, so he could fight on his own ground where he had the advantage. If you are chasing someone, you have already lost. Use bait. When people come to your territory, they are the ones who are nervous. You set the terms. Law 9, win through actions, never argument. Arguments breed resentment. Results breed respect. Michelangelo. When a patron criticized the nose of his statue, he didn't argue. He climbed the ladder, pretended to chip away while dropping marble dust, and changed nothing. The patron was satisfied. Don't explain why you're right. Demonstrate it. People believe their eyes, but they will always resent your tongue. Law 10, infection, avoid the unhappy and unlucky. You can die from someone else's misery. Lola Montez. This 19th century femme fatale ruined the lives of every powerful man she associated with, from King Ludwig to famous writers, purely through the chaos she brought with her. Emotions are as infectious as diseases. If you associate with people who are always in crisis, their chaos will eventually become yours. Associate only with the successful. The architecture of control, laws 11 to 20. Survival is not enough. To truly win, you must become the one who moves the pieces. Most people think power is loud. True power is a whisper. It is the ability to make others do what you want, while they believe it was their own idea. Law 11, learn to keep people dependent on you. To maintain independence, you must always be needed. Louis XI of France and his astrologer. The king wanted to kill him, but the astrologer claimed that the king would die exactly 3 days after the astrologer died. The king spent the rest of his life protecting him. If you are the only one who can solve a problem, you are untouchable. Never teach your subordinates enough to do without you. Law 12, use selective honesty to disarm your victim. One sincere move will cover over a dozen dishonest ones. The legendary con artist Count Victor Lustig. Before he sold the Eiffel Tower, twice, he would give a small, honest gift or admit a small mistake to his mark to make them trust him completely. Honesty is a tactical weapon. Use a small truth to open a hole in their armor, then strike through the gap. Law 13, when asking for help, appeal to self-interest. Never remind people of your past assistance. Show them what they gain. The alliance between the Athenians and the Corcyraeans. Corcyra didn't talk about friendship, they showed Athens that their navy was the only thing standing between Athens and total defeat by Sparta. Gratitude is a burden, greed is a motor. If you want someone to move, show them the gold at the end of the path. Law 14, pose as a friend, work as a spy. Knowledge is power. Gather it in social settings. Talleyrand, the French diplomat. He would host lavish dinners, get his guests drunk and comfortable, and listen as they leaked the secrets of Europe. The best information is gathered when the guard is down. Ask indirect questions and let others do the talking. Every social event is a field report. Law 15, crush your enemy totally. A wounded enemy will heal and seek revenge. Leave them nothing to return with. Empress Wu of China. She didn't just sideline her rivals, she eliminated their entire families and legacy so there was no one left to even remember her crimes. Mercy in power is a mistake. If you stop halfway, you are only delaying the inevitable counterattack. Crush the spark before it becomes a wildfire. Law 16, use absence to increase respect. Too much circulation makes the price go down. The more you are seen, the more common you appear. Sir Joshua Reynolds. He was the most famous painter in England, but he would purposefully disappear for months at a time. When he returned, the demand for his work, and his prices, tripled. In a world of constant noise, silence is a premium. If you want to be valued, you must first be missed. Law 17, keep others in terror, cultivate predictability. Humans are creatures of habit. Break your patterns to keep them off balance. Bobby Fischer, the chess grandmaster. He would show up late, complain about the lights, or play bizarre opening moves that made no sense, just to psych out his opponents. Predictability is a weakness. When you become unpredictable, people spend all their energy trying to figure you out, leaving them no energy to stop you. Law 18, do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. It cuts you off from information and makes you a target. King Louis XIV. He built Versailles not as a fortress, but as a social hub. By keeping his enemies close where he could see them, he was safer than if he had hidden behind high walls. Your best defense is a crowd. Stay at the center of the information flow. A fortress is just a prison with a different name. Law 19, know who you are dealing with. Never offend the wrong person. Genghis Khan and the Shah of Khwarezm. The Shah insulted the Khan's messengers, thinking he was just a barbarian. Genghis Khan responded by wiping the Shah's entire empire off the map. The world is full of different people. Some are snakes, some are lions. If you treat a wolf like a sheep, you won't survive the night. Law 20, do not commit to anyone. It is the fool who always rushes to take a side. Queen Elizabeth I. She kept every suitor in every country in Europe waiting for decades, promising her hand but never giving it. Because she belonged to no one, everyone had to stay on her good side. By staying independent, you become the master of both sides. Your favor is the prize everyone is fighting for. Stay the master of yourself. The art of manipulation, laws 21 to 30. The most effective way to defeat an enemy isn't through force, it's through their own mind. If you can control how people perceive you, you can control their reality. Law 21, play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. No one suspects a fool. The 19th century con artist Joseph Weil. He would dress in cheap clothes and act confused in front of wealthy bankers. They felt so superior to him that they lowered their guard, allowing him to walk away with their money. If you appear smarter than your opponent, they will be defensive. If you appear slower, they will become arrogant. Arrogance is the opening you need to strike. Law 22, use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. Surrender gives you time to recover and wait for them to fail. The Melian Dialogue. The Melians refused to surrender to Athens and were destroyed. In contrast, the Japanese in World War II used a surrender strategy during certain negotiations to buy time to rebuild their economy and eventually dominate the global market. Never fight for honor when you are losing. Surrender. It infuriates your opponent because they have nothing left to crush, while you quietly wait for the tide to turn. Law 23, concentrate your forces. Intensity always beats extensity. Focus your energy on a single goal. The Rothschild banking family. They didn't try to master every industry, they focused entirely on the flow of information and money. By mastering one single point, they gained control over entire nations. The man who chases two rabbits catches none. Find the one source of power and stay there until you have drained it dry. Law 24, play the perfect courtier. Master the art of the social dance. Flourish in a world where everything revolves around power and politics. Castiglione, the author of The Courtier. He taught that a true master never looks like they are trying. They are elegant, polite, and use sprezzatura, the art of making the difficult look easy. The court is a place of shadows. Learn to praise without being a sycophant and to disagree without being a rebel. The courtier is the invisible hand that moves the king. Law 25, recreate yourself. Do not accept the roles that society foists on you. Forge a new identity. Julius Caesar. He wasn't just a general, he was a master of public relations. He orchestrated his own triumphs and wrote his own history books to ensure the public saw him as a living god. You are the actor and the director of your own life. If your current persona isn't working, burn it down and build a new one that commands respect. Law 26, keep your hands clean. You must seem a paragon of civility. Use cat's paws, others, to do your dirty work. Cleopatra. She often used messengers and subordinates to carry out executions or harsh taxes, while she remained the shining star of Egypt, beloved by the people. Your reputation cannot afford the stain of mistakes or cruelty. Find a fall guy. Let someone else take the heat while you reap the rewards. Law 27, play on people's need to believe. People want to follow a cause. Give them a cult-like following. The Messiah strategies of various cult leaders or even modern-day tech moguls. They don't sell products, they sell a vision of the future that makes people feel part of something larger. Humans are desperate for meaning. If you promise them a new world and keep your words vague and grand, they will follow you into the fire. Law 28, enter action with boldness. If you are unsure of a course of action, do not attempt it. Timidity is dangerous. Count Victor Lustig. He didn't ask to sell the Eiffel Tower, he acted with such supreme confidence and boldness that the buyers were too intimidated to check his credentials. Everyone admires the bold, no one honors the timid. A mistake made with boldness is easily corrected by even more boldness. Law 29, plan all the way to the end. Do not be surprised by obstacles. See the finish line before you take the first step. Otto von Bismarck. He planned the unification of Germany decades in advance. He knew exactly how each war would end before he even started the first one. Most people are overwhelmed by the moment. The master looks past the horizon. If you plan to the end, you will not be tempted by the small detours that lead to ruin. Law 30, make your achievements seem effortless. Your talent must appear natural. Never reveal how hard you work. The great Houdini. He made his escapes look like magic, never showing the years of physical pain and mechanical study it took to perform them. When you show your hard work, you reveal your limits. When you make it look easy, you create the illusion of godlike power. Silence the struggle, broadcast the success. Strategic dominance, laws 31 to 40. The highest form of power is not forcing someone to do what you want. It is making them choose to do what you want. We are moving beyond manipulation and into the realm of total strategic control. Law 31, control the options. Give people choices that always end in your favor. Ivan the Terrible. He resigned the throne and moved away, knowing the country would fall into chaos. When the people begged him to return, he agreed, but only on the condition that he be given absolute power to execute anyone he wished. They chose his tyranny over chaos. When you give people a choice, they feel in control. They don't realize that you have narrowed the field so that every path leads back to your doorstep. Law 32, play to people's fantasies. The truth is often cold and ugly. People prefer the beautiful lie. The 16th century alchemists. They didn't have to turn lead into gold, they just had to promise they could. People spent fortunes on them because the fantasy of infinite wealth was more powerful than the reality of science. Never promise a slow, painful improvement. Promise a sudden, magical transformation. People will follow the person who feeds their dreams. Law 33, discover each man's thumbscrew. Everyone has a weakness, an insecurity or a secret desire. Find it and use it. Cardinal Richelieu. He was a master of finding the hidden button of his rivals. If someone was greedy, he bought them. If they were vain, he flattered them. If they were fearful, he terrified them. Power is not about brute force. It's about finding the lever. Once you know what a person truly wants, or truly fears, you own them. Law 34, be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. Christopher Columbus. He was a son of a weaver, but he acted with such supreme dignity and confidence that he convinced the King and Queen of Spain to treat him as an admiral and a noble before he had even discovered a single island. If you act like a servant, you will be treated like one. Confidence is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Dignity is your armor. Law 35, master the art of timing. Never seem to be in a hurry. Hurrying betrays a lack of control. Joseph Fouché, the French revolutionary. He survived 3 different regimes by knowing exactly when to stay quiet and exactly when to strike. He let his enemies burn themselves out while he waited in the shadows. Time is a tool. There is a time to wait, a time to move, and a time to strike. If you master the clock, you master the men. Law 36, disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring an enemy is the best revenge. If you acknowledge them, you give them power. King Louis XIV. If a noble offended him, he wouldn't argue or punish them. He would simply say, I do not know that man, and act as if they didn't exist. The noble would lose all social status instantly. When you react to an insult, you validate it. When you ignore it, you make the offender look pathetic. Silence is the ultimate disrespect. Law 37, create compelling spectacles. Use grand gestures and symbols to dazzle the eyes. Dr. Mesmer. He didn't just heal people, he used dim lighting, strange music, and purple robes to create a spectacle of animal magnetism. The theatricality made his cures seem miraculous. People do not think with their logic, they think with their eyes. A grand spectacle bypasses the brain and goes straight to the heart. Be the director of your own myth. Law 38, think as you like but behave like others. If you flaunt your unconventional ideas, people will think you look down on them. The philosopher Campanella. He was a radical thinker, but when he was in prison or around the church, he pretended to be a devout believer to save his life. He kept his genius in his mind and his mask on his face. The crowd hates a genius who makes them feel stupid. Blend in with the culture of the room, but keep your true thoughts in your private sanctuary. Law 39, stir up waters to catch fish. Anger and emotion are strategically counterproductive. Make your enemies angry while you stay calm. Haile Selassie of Ethiopia. He would purposefully delay meetings and stay silent while his rivals grew frustrated and angry. In their rage, they would make mistakes and reveal their plans. When a person is angry, they are blind. If you can stay calm while everyone else is losing their mind, you are the only one who can see the board. Law 40, despise the free lunch. What is offered for free is dangerous. It usually involves a hidden debt. The gift of the Trojan horse. It was free, but it was the end of Troy. Conversely, the painter Picasso would often overpay for things or pay with a sketch, ensuring he was never the one in debt. In power, you pay your own way. By paying the full price, you stay independent. Free things cost you your freedom. Efficiency is worth the expense. The endgame of power, laws 41 to 48. Winning a battle is easy. Keeping the empire is hard. Many people reach the top only to fall because they became rigid, arrogant, or trapped by their own success. This is how you ensure your power lasts forever. Law 41, avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. If you follow a legend, you must change the game entirely, or you will forever be seen as a shadow. Alexander the Great. His father, Philip of Macedon, was a legendary conqueror. Alexander didn't just try to be a good king, he set out to conquer the known world, surpassing his father so significantly that he created his own son. Inheriting success is a trap. You must burn the past to create your own light. If you don't establish your own identity, you will die in the shadow of your predecessor. Law 42, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Trouble can often be traced to a single strong individual. Neutralize the source, and the followers will fall apart. The Athenian strategist Alcibiades. During the Peloponnesian War, whenever a city-state rebelled, the master move was not to attack the city, but to isolate the one charismatic leader stirring the crowd. Without the head, the body dies. Don't waste energy on the followers. Find the one person responsible for the trouble, the shepherd. When they are gone, the opposition collapses from within. Law 43, work on the hearts and minds of others. Coercion creates rebellion. You must seduce people into wanting to follow you. Marie Antoinette versus Napoleon. Marie ignored the hearts of the people and lost her head. Napoleon understood that by appealing to French glory, he could lead men into certain death, and they would go. Singing. You cannot force loyalty. You must play on their emotions and their self-interest. A person who believes in you is 1,000 times more powerful than a person who fears you. Law 44, disarm and derange with the mirror effect. When you mirror your enemies, doing exactly what they do, they cannot see your strategy. The 19th century diplomat Metternich. He would mirror the behavior and language of his rivals so perfectly that they felt a false sense of security, revealing their secrets while he remained a total enigma. The mirror is the ultimate psychological weapon. It mocks your enemy's vanity and blinds their judgment. By reflecting them, you become invisible. Law 45, preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. Humans are creatures of habit. Too much change at once creates a backlash. Thomas Cromwell and the Reformation. He tried to change the entire religious structure of England too fast. The people revolted, and eventually, the king had to sacrifice Cromwell to calm the crowd. Everyone says they want progress, but deep down, they fear the unknown. If you are new to power, keep the old rituals while you slowly change the reality behind the scenes. Law 46, never appear too perfect. Appearing better than everyone else is dangerous. It breeds envy and silent enemies. Joe Kennedy. He was incredibly wealthy and powerful, but he purposefully cultivated a common man image and admitted to small, harmless flaws to make people feel he was one of them, shielding himself from the hatred of the masses. Envy creates silent daggers. Occasionally admit to a small defect or a harmless vice. It humanizes you and makes your power seem less threatening to those below you. Law 47, do not go past the mark you aimed for. In the moment of victory, arrogance often leads you to go too far. Know when to stop. Napoleon Bonaparte. His victory at Austerlitz was the mark. But his arrogance pushed him to invade Russia, a step too far that led to his total collapse. He didn't know when he had already won. The most dangerous moment is the moment of victory. Greed and overconfidence will push you toward a disaster you could have avoided. Set your goal, reach it, and stop. Law 48, assume formlessness. Do not have a fixed plan or a visible shape. By being fluid like water, you are impossible to attack. The guerrilla tactics of Mao Zedong. He never fought a traditional battle. When the enemy attacked, he retreated. When they tired, he struck. He had no shape, so the massive army had nothing to hit. The world is in constant flux. If you are rigid, you will break. Accept that nothing is certain. Adapt, move, and stay fluid. If they cannot define you, they cannot defeat you. You have now mastered the 48 laws. But remember, power is a tool, not a destination. It is a game that never ends. Use these laws to build, to protect, and to lead. Which of these 48 laws changed your perspective the most? Please let me know in the comments. This has been your masterclass on Book with Guptaji. I'll see you at the finish line.